Hello everyone, welcome back to Autotrend TV. I am your Viprajesh again from Tata Access Limited Tata car showroom in Coimbatore, and I am here with the newly arrived Tata Altroz Avenue White XT variant. And as you can see, this is a really nice looking car, though this does not have certain features which were present on the top spec XZ variant. It still looks really good. Starting with the exteriors, you can see that the grille remains exactly the same with the very same piano black finish on them, which look really nice. However, you do not get projector headlamps on this variant, and neither you get LED DRLs. Instead, you just get a fog lamp. This console is basically the same. The only difference is that on the top spec variant, this area will be an LED DRL, but this car does not have that, so it is basically a blank. But still you get front fog lamps, which is really good, with cornering function. The lower bumper remains exactly the same as before, and as do the bonnet and the overall body panels. Everything remains exactly the same as the XZ. It's the features where this variant lacks. So coming to the wheels, as you can see, these are 16-inch wheels, which is really good. Even though not being a top spec variant, these wheels are 16-inch in size on the XT variant. However, you can see that this is not an alloy. This is a 16-inch steel rim with wheel covers, but it still looks good. Probably some additional color or customization will make this look a little bit better. So that's all about the wheels. Coming to the side, you can see that the ORVMs are still black. You do not get ORVM mounted indicators, turn indicators. The indicators on the top spec model itself was over here on the fender, so that remains the same. However, what's lacking is that the chrome finish, which you used to get on the top spec XZ variant, that is missing over here, but it's still fine. It looks really good. The overall piano black, glossy black finish on the window line, including the ORVM, remains exactly the same. So you get the diamond DLO kind of shape for the window greenhouse, which is really nice and unique for the Altroz. You also get these nice chunky large door handles, which is really good. And as I already said, all the body panels remains exactly the same. Even though this is an XT variant, it looks really good. So coming to the rear, you can see that this variant does not have a rear wiper, neither does it have rear wash function, and of course the defogger is also missing. As you can see, it's just a plain windshield. Sorry for the dust. Yeah, this is a newly arrived car, so that's why it's a little bit dusty, but it's still fine. So the good thing is that you get the very same Altroz chrome badging at the center, along with a reverse parking camera even on this variant, which is really good. And apart from that, you also get 2 reverse sensors, so that is a good thing. However, if you have a keen eye, you would also notice that this variant lacks a rear fog lamp, which was actually present on the XZ top spec variant. This is where usually the rear fog lamp would be present, but this variant clearly lacks it. Apart from that, everything totally remains the same. You get the very same wing 90 degree wide opening doors on the Altroz. As you can see, the doors are massive in opening. That will certainly aid the ingress and egress of the passengers if you have elder people at home. So everything remains the same. Everything is very good. So let's just get inside the car to check out the differences when you compare with the top spec XZ variant. Before getting inside the XT Altroz, I would like to show you one thing. You can see that the driver's seat on this XT variant lacks a height adjustment function, and the fabrics themselves are a little bit different in quality and design as well. These are not as high spec and high quality as the top spec variants, but it's still really good hard wearing fabric. So let's just have a seat inside. The first thing you may notice once you just immediately sit inside this car is the different instrument cluster. You can see that it's not a semi-digital instrument cluster on the top spec variant. You instead get a full analog tachometer and analog speedometer. The MID over here has been carried over from the Tata Harrier. Let me just turn on the ignition. And talking about the ignition, even though being a lower variant than the top spec variant, you still get a push button start with engine start stop function, which is a really good thing. So yeah, that's me turning on the ignition of the Tata Altroz XT, and as you can see, the instrument cluster is kind of reminiscent of the lower spec variants of the Tata Harrier, and that's clearly visible. You get everything. Well, every detail is over here. It's not like you would miss on certain features. You get instantaneous efficiency, distance to empty, trip meter A, trip meter B. Well, average mileages for both the trip meter A and B. And you also get engine temperature gauge with a fuel gauge on top. So everything is here. Only the fact is that it's not as fancy or high spec as the top spec Altroz. So yeah, apart from that, you can see that the steering wheel is the very same design carried over from basically all BS6 variants of Tata now. Nexon, Tiago, Tigor, and even the Altroz. This steering wheel debuted with the Altroz first, but still it is not as high spec, not as well decorated as the top spec variant. As you can see, it's an all black steering wheel with no sort of piano black finishing or faux metal aluminium sort of finishing or anything. It's just a very good steering wheel, good to hold, chunky to hold, and it neither does it have leather wrapping or anything. It's fine though. What's the surprise is that this, even though not being a top spec variant, it gets cruise control. That is really very helpful if you are a highway person and you prefer going very long journeys on really long 4-lane or 6-lane highways. What this car lacks is that other features which were present on the top spec variants, such as automatic headlamps, automatic wipers, of course the semi-digital instrument cluster, and of course automatic temperature control. These are the manual AC controls on the Altroz. The top spec XZ had automatic climate control, and the console itself was sort of different with much neater and good quality buttons and all, but this one is not so much. It's okay to use. Of course the blower fan speed is a little bit louder than any other cars. Yeah, the buttons are kind of okay-ish to operate, the knobs and buttons, but it's fine. It works totally fine. These are very different in design when you compare with any other Tiago, Nexon or Tigor's buttons, so that's totally fine. The gear lever remains exactly the same as before on the top spec variant, but you do not get leather wrapping or anything. It's instead just a rubberized plastic kind of design. It works fine though. It's really good to hold, nice, well to grip, nice to look at as well. This being not the top spec variant, this is the XT variant, you still get the 7-inch Harman touchscreen system, which gets Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, and even a reverse parking camera. This is how the reverse parking camera looks like when it's turned on, and you can even turn it on without switching on the reverse gear while you're going forward, just in case to monitor your rear view. And as you can see, it also gets adaptive guidelines, which is really very helpful while you're parking on tight spaces, or you just want to have a look where the car is actually going while you are reversing. So that's a really good thing. You get all the controls, manual controls for the touchscreen system along with that, just as on the Nexon and the top spec Altroz, which is also really very good. However, you can see that the ambient lighting is not present on the say this island console. Well, alongside this island console on the top spec variant, you may have noticed that the mood lighting, the blue lighting, will be present over here, right in between this gap, but not on this variant. You instead get mood lighting right under your footwell. In the footwell only you will get the ambient mood lighting, the very same blue lighting. So that's it's okay. Ambient lighting is not a very much sought after feature. It's just a fancy feature. However, a good thing is that this system gets voice commands for FM control, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, tuning, calling, and even messaging. So that's really good. So let me just try that now. Tune to 91.1 FM. So let me just turn. Yeah, as you can see, it has automatically tuned to 91.1 FM. So that's really good. Apart from that, all the variants of the Altroz get this economy drive mode. As you may already know, the Altroz comes with two multiple drive modes, the city mode and the economy mode. If you press this button,
economy drive mode activated.
Yeah, voice assist features are also present, so as to remind you whether your handbrake is turned on or your doors are open, and even while changing drive mode. So that's
city drive mode activated.
Yeah, that's a really very helpful feature. Other features on this variant include this for aluminum finish, which was present on the top spec variant. Even this variant gets that, which looks really nice. The glove box is also a very similar size capacity, except for the lack of that additional tray on top. However, this one also gets the cool glove box function with a glove box light, which is really helpful and nice if you want to have some cool drinks or just cold water. So that's all about the glove box. Other storage spaces on the doors exactly remain the same, with one umbrella holder on each front door. Along with that, you can also place a full 1 liter bottle. Talking about the doors lack the fabric kind of padding which were present on the XZ variant. So it is kind of a plastic, texturized plastic, which looks nice. It's really good in quality. It's not that it's bad in quality. It's really good, really very robust. However, it's not as comfortable as before due to the lack of that fabric padding. And as you can see, the door handles themselves, so sorry for peeling this off, the door handles themselves are not metal anymore on this variant. Instead, it's just a black, piano black door handle. So that's okay. The audio quality in this variant is also really very good. This variant gets 4 speakers, but still sounds really very good because all the speakers are from Harman. Other features on this variant include a manual switch for the day-night IRVM, a ticket holder on the sun visor for the driver, and a vanity mirror for the passenger side. However, the biggest omission on the Altroz XT is this thing. I don't know what the heck this thing is. It looks kind of really very cheap. Even the Tiago gets better cabin lights, white cabin lights. As you can see, this is just a yellow, stupid looking, very silly, very small looking cabin light. I don't know why did they want to do this, given the fact that even the Tiago entry level variants get a white, larger, much better looking cabin light. And the biggest minus is that this light could have been provided even at the rear, but heck, even the top spec variants of the Nexon and the Altroz do not get any sort of rear seat cabin light. So that's seriously a miss out on Tata's side that could have been avoided. Come on, yaar. Okay, so enough about that. Sorry for me ranting about this. Coming to other storage spaces on the center console, you can see this massive tray over here. The 12-volt charging socket is provided right below the aircon controls, and along with that you can also see the USB charging, which you can use for USB charging or Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. And of course, the steering wheel also gets tilt adjustable function. No telescopic function even on the top spec variants of the Nexon or Altroz, at least not yet. So that's all about the front of the XT variant of the Tata Altroz. So let me just get inside the rear seat, the rear area of the Tata Altroz XT. Yes folks, I'm right now in the back seat of the Tata Altroz XT variant, and this is how the dashboard of the XT variant looks exactly like. It is okay. It definitely lacks certain features and the premiumness of the top spec variant, but still it's totally fine. Another thing, major thing which this variant lacks is the center armrest. You can see that this is the center console. It includes the handbrake lever and a couple other cup holders and storage spaces. However, on the top spec variant, you may have noticed that this will actually hold a armrest, a much larger armrest with a nice robust feel to it, with the storage space underneath that, but that is no longer present on this XT variant. Instead, this is how the center console looks like. The handbrake lever is really very robust and nice quality to use. It's not a compromise in that aspect. However, The cup holders, I think that they are a little bit small in size, and this storage space right below the handbrake will be used to hold the keys. And as you can see, this is the key for the XT variant itself, which look exactly similar to the top spec variants of the Nexon, the top spec Altroz, and even Harrier also. So there is no compromise in this, at least, so that's a really good thing. So let me talk about the rear seat now. As you can see, the space remains exactly the same. You get ample amount of space even for a tall person with long legs like me. My height is 5'11" for reference, and my legs are a little bit longer. I have adjusted the driver's seat for my height. As you can see, the front seats of course are provided with adjustable headrests, which is a really good thing. However, the rear seats do not have any sort of adjustable headrests. These look like the Tiago's headrests. They are totally integrated and very small and stubby. I don't think this will provide any sort of protection or comfort for any passenger, but still they have provided this because it is a lower spec variant. The good thing with Altroz is that you get additional optional packs on every variant, where you can actually opt for certain things like a rear adjustable headrest, a rear seat armrest, or even a touchscreen system on the XE variant from the factory itself. So that is a really good option. And as you can see, this seat also lacks a rear center armrest. So yeah, the rear seat comfort may be a little bit compromised, but the space and overall feel of the interior is not compromised definitely, which is a really good thing. Talking about storage spaces and the doors, you can see that even the rear doors lack the fabric padding for the armrest. However, you get all 4 power windows, which is a really good thing. And the driver window definitely lacks the auto express down function you may have seen on the top spec XZ variant. So coming to the rear door again, you can see that easily 1 liter bottles will be held over there, so that's a really good thing. Headroom is no problem. Even the middle seat passenger will have no problem sitting here because the floor is almost flat. It's really very convenient, very usable even for long drives. The Altroz is one among the widest in the premium hatchback category in India, and that's the reason 3 people can easily sit in the rear seat. So that's all about the rear. Now another feature which is lacking on this variant is height adjustable front seat belts. Yeah, you do not get that on this variant. Only the top spec XZ and the XZ Plus dual tone, basically the optional variant, gets that feature. So that's all about here. So let me just get into the boot and later under the bonnet of the Altroz XT. On the XT variant also you get the very same button, the smart key access button, right under the Tata logo in the boot. So yeah, this is how the boot of the Tata Altroz looks like. It is very similar to that you may see on the XZ variant, because even the top spec variant lacks a 60-40 split folding function for the rear seat. So that is the very same case over here. However, the biggest surprise is that even though this not being a top spec variant, Tata Motors have provided this cord which can be used to hang your parcel tray when the tailgate is open. This feature is not present on even the XZ variant of the Tata Nexon, but it's still present on the XT variant of the Altroz. I don't know, it's very much kind of weird to see, but it's totally fine. The boot space remains exactly the same, around 340 liters in capacity, which is really great, the best in class for the premium hatchbacks in India. And under the boot floor you can get to see the 14-inch spare wheel. Of course, the spare wheel of the top spec XT and XZ along with the XZ optional variants of the Altroz get 14-inch steel wheels as a spare wheel. However, the lower spec variants such as the XM or XE variants of the Altroz, which get regular 14-inch wheels, will get 13-inch wheels as a spare wheel, I suppose. So that's all about the exteriors and the boot, and along with the interior as well. So let me just pop open the bonnet and see whether there are any differences under the bonnet at least. So this is the Altroz Petrol Revotron. So basically this is how the engine looks like, the 1.2 liter 3-cylinder Revotron, BS6 compliant Revotron to be precise. Looks like even on the top spec variant there is no sort of difference. You even get ABS, EBD corner stability control as standard from the entry level variants, along with dual airbags. so that's really good. And this engine, of course, as before, produces 86 PS of power and 113 Newton meters of torque through a 5-speed manual transmission only for now. And automatic is still in development, so until the automatic arrives, the manual gearbox is very slick to use, very good to use, nothing much to complain. So yeah, that's all about the XT variant right now. So do let me know in the comment section below, what do you think about the XT variant. If you are a person who likes to go on long drives and definitely do not want to compromise in terms of safety or even infotainment tech, this is the variant for you. So yeah, the pricing is on the screen for you for this XT specification Altroz. So meanwhile, this is Viprajesh signing off. See you on another video. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.